story with our panelists. And of course, in our top story again, conversion racket. It appears a US national has been held in Maharashtra for trying to convert people at a local district. Now, on what grounds he's been arrested? We hear he was on a tourist visa and was carrying out conversion activities. Now, how far will he be able to get bail? Will US embassies be involved in this? Elaborately discussing on that with our panelists. And of course, finally, Supreme Court, our Chief Justice of India, the Supreme Court, Mr. Gavai, had a shoe almost hurled at him by a lawyer who claims he was upset that Gavai allegedly hurt the feelings of Sanatanis through one of his verdicts. We're going to take you through details as always. I start with the headlines. Supreme Court advocate Rakesh Kishore attempts to hurl a shoe at CJI BR Gavai. The incident comes 20 days after Gavai's controversial remark on Khajuraho Lord Vishnu Idol petition. Bar Council has now suspended the accused Kishore's license. He won't be able to practice anywhere across the country. Election Commission of India today announced that Bihar Assembly elections will be held in two phases on November 6th and 11th, counting on November 14th. Electoral roll includes over 7.4 crore voters, including 14 lakh eligible first-timers. In Pahalgam attack investigation, Mohammad Yusuf Qatari, an overground worker, OGW, was arrested by the Jammu and Kashmir police, had met the terrorists involved in the April 22nd Pahalgam attack 4 times, handed them an Android phone charger, a key evidence which ultimately led to his capture. India has issued a notice to airmen, a NOTAM message for possible missile test in Bay of Bengal between October 15th and 17th. 1,480 kilometers no-fly zone has been declared to assess long-range capabilities and strategic readiness. After a series of child deaths allegedly linked to cough syrups in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, the Karnataka Health Department has banned cough syrups for children below the age of 2 years and advised doctors' consultation before giving it to children aged between 2 and 5. Of course, Coldrif, the cough syrup in question, is now banned in most parts of India after 16 deaths linked to it. Karnataka Pollution Board issues closure notice to Big Boss House for not installing sewage treatment plant as required under pollution control norms. Officials claim that untreated wastewater from Big Boss House poses a potential environmental risk. Tamil Nadu to host aerospace and defense meetings, ADM, at the Chennai Trade Center from October 7 to 9 to give impetus to state's initiative Tamil Nadu Defense Industrial Corridor. CPI and the MMK leaders have urged the government to ban participation of Israeli firms, citing Gaza crisis. Kerala Assembly was disrupted with UDF demanding Devaswam Minister VN Vasavan's resignation. The Speaker Shamsheer adjourned the Assembly as opposition disrupted question hour with banners and slogans at the well of the House. Appointed just a month ago, French Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu names cabinet, but unimpressed, he was forced to resign. This is yet another Prime Minister who was appointed by Macron, and it seems like he too has bowed out because he couldn't deliver. Short-lived stint there. France right now going through the worst economic crisis. Right, let's start with Zubeen Garg's death. In a story that's really stunned the nation, the death of singer Zubeen Garg in Singapore is now the center of a murder investigation. What really began as suspected drowning has turned into a case riddled with allegations of poisoning, cover-up and a conspiracy in Zubeen Garg's death. The 52-year-old music icon, loved for his contributions to Assamese and Bollywood music, died on September 19th during a yacht outing in Singapore, where he was attending the Northeast India Festival as a cultural ambassador. Now, remember, Singapore's investigative reports claim that Zubeen died out of drowning. That said, there's fresh information that's coming from the SIT that was formed in Assam, the state investigative agency that was set up by the Assam government, has revealed that they've arrested 4 people. That includes his manager Siddharth Sharma, bandmate Shekhar Jyoti Goswami, singer Amrit Prabha Mahanta and the event organizer Shamkhanu Mahanta. Shockingly, the bandmate who's been arrested, Shekhar Jyoti Goswami, has made some explosive claims. He's told the investigators that Zubeen was poisoned and that manager Sharma and Mahanta, the event organizer, deliberately withheld help when Zubeen showed clear signs of distress while he was swimming. He alleges that the manager brushed off Zubeen's frothing at the mouth and nose as just acid reflux, ignoring his worsening condition. In fact, the bandmate Goswami has also stated that manager Siddharth forcibly took control of the yacht. While they were on the yacht, he took control of the yacht, and that caused the yacht to dangerously wobble as well, basically suggesting that the manager was acting very odd that day. In fact, he claims the manager also requested everyone on the yacht not to share any videos or any platform. Well, according to the bandmate of Zubeen, who's also, remember, arrested, he's right now in custody of the police. He has testified in his testimony, claiming that the entire incident was planned by Zubeen's manager and it was attempted to portray Zubeen's death as completely accidental. He claims that Siddharth, the manager, insisted that no one help Zubeen when he was visibly gasping for breath in the ocean, and the manager allegedly said, Jabo de, let him go, while people saw Zubeen struggling to breathe. Now, Zubeen was said to be an expert swimmer, so it was very hard to believe for people watching him that he was losing control of his swimming, and the fact that he was a good swimmer and yet struggling should have raised alarm bells. Clearly wasn't attended to when it was needed the most. The SIT has now confirmed that 2 unidentified men entered Zubeen's hotel. Now, that's another suspicion that's been raised. Who are these men? Meanwhile, as investigations deepen, 8 NRIs living in Singapore who were part of the yacht party have been summoned by the SIT. Reports suggest that they're hesitating to appear for many reasons. Some say their workplace is not permitted, or the Singapore police is not allowing, etc., etc. But Assam Chief Minister Hemanta Biswa Sarma has warned them. All of them are originally from Assam. They've been warned, you either appear before the SIT or you face action. Assam government has also sought Singapore's cooperation under the MLAT for cross-border investigation. Judicial inquiry led by Justice Soumitra Saikia has been ordered with 6-month deadline. Viscera report is also now awaited that will very possibly reveal whether indeed Zubeen was poisoned or not. Zubeen's wife Garima has demanded answers questioning why even her husband was allowed to go into the water when the doctors had clearly advised Zubeen to avoid swimming because he had epilepsy seizure even in the past, and Siddharth, the manager, knew very well about it but yet allowed him to go into water. So she's very upset that this was done despite them knowing very well Zubeen's health condition or prior records. Of course, Zubeen's death mystery only now deepening, turning nation's grief into a quest for justice now. Let me bring in our panelists on board. Nekib Hussain, who's a popular Assamese singer and lyricist who knew Zubeen very well. We also have Ellen Rao, former DCP Delhi. Also Dr. Sudhir Kumar, professor in HOD Neurology, Apollo Hospital. Let me start with Ellen Rao, who's a former DCP of Delhi. Mr. Rao, my only question here is there's a lot of suspicion and speculation around Zubeen's death on how he died. And while the investigation was proceeding with Singapore's investigation or the post-mortem report that said that it was death due to drowning, but here the SIT has another version of a testimony from the band member saying Zubeen was poisoned, that Siddharth may have poisoned him. He was frothing from his nose and mouth and he was struggling to breathe in the ocean, and yet nobody went forward to save him. My only question here is, if Singapore has said that this is death due to drowning, can we really believe Singapore's investigative report, or should we shut it down entirely based on this band member's claim here?
Good evening, ma'am. This is really this case is turning into very so many suspicions, and as per the state government and the public media or social media, it is suspected that he did not drown itself as is stated by the Singapore police, and he might have been murdered. There are so many other people also. The SIT has been constituted by state government here in India. But let me answer your direct question that whether the police of India, the Indian police, can investigate that case. No, not at all. That Singapore police cannot allow other agencies to investigate this case outside Singapore, because the place of occurrence is at Singapore, and all the circumstances which have been culminated into the death of Zubeen Garg, that is to be looked into by the Singapore police, and apparently they say that it's due to drowning. But because of the suspicions raised by the Indian government people and Indian government also, that this may be suspicious death, and that all the angles should be probed. Most important aspect, if there is a element of murder in this case, then the Viscera report is most crucial report, because if there was something intoxicated in his stomach was found, that his Viscera report, his stomach was sent to the chemical analysis for eliminating whether he was poisoned or something, he was intoxicated at that time.
Okay, but Viscera report will come in 6 months? No. It'll come immediately.
That may be requested as early as possible. Also, it all depends upon the investigating officer here in India.
Okay.
If such a important and case is reported, then the Viscera report is requested from the chemical analysis to be done at a very priority basis.
My question here is, if there was poison in his body, could the Singapore authorities have detected it or not? They would have, right?
Yes, no. That they can only detect after they getting the Viscera report. Otherwise, that postmortem, that autopsy of body of that Zubeen Garg may also reveal so many.
But you've had 2 rounds of postmortem that's already happened here in India. When his body was brought back, they've done 2 rounds of the autopsy or postmortem. One of the 2, twice over.
Once the autopsy is done at the same place, that is Singapore, has been done, that autopsy report carries much more value and weightage in spite of the autopsy reports done in India. That because the first postmortem report, the first autopsy carries more and more weight for that. And even then, if it is a second autopsy or third autopsy here, and suspicions are being found here, because the investigation is being done after the autopsy has been done here in India, then SIT has been constituted, that is called CID, investigation being done. They can do it at their own level, but that multi-legal assistant treaty, that MLAT, that is multi-agency assistance system, there is a provision in interstate, inter-countries, that any assistance can be provided from here to Singapore, or Singapore also can give any assistance to it. That is a treaty, if there is between these 2 countries, that can be also very helpful in investigation of this case. And no doubt the public wants that the reality should come, that the real picture should come, truth should come out after the investigation is done, whether it's a Singapore police.
My question is that, the more you prolong this, it's been now nearly a little more than 20 days. And the more you prolong this, I'm not too sure what more evidence can you uncover. If the autopsy and the reports given by Singapore and the Indian authorities did not detect poison, then how could you really tell? Dr. Sudhir Kumar, Zubeen had epilepsy seizures. He's had attacks in the past. Now he decides to go for a swim, and some of the witnesses there say that he was seen struggling to breathe. We're not indulging in conjectures here, but just in your expertise of epilepsy seizures, or what you know about it, can a person go into water and swim comfortably, or is it dangerous?
Yeah, thank you for having this important discussion. So if we talk about epilepsy and drowning, definitely a person with epilepsy, if he goes for swimming, there is a risk of drowning, and there have been many studies done on this aspect. And what has been found is that those who have epilepsy, they have almost 15 to 19 times higher risk of drowning while swimming as compared to someone who doesn't have epilepsy. And of course, it depends on factors like what type of epilepsy. So epilepsy, there are two types. One is focal, where the person does not become unconscious, and second is generalized, where the person loses consciousness. So if a person has generalized epilepsy, type of epilepsy, then they have a higher risk of drowning. And then also the seizure control. So someone who has had good seizure control, like no seizures for 6 months or longer, they have a lower risk. But those who keep getting seizures like every month or once in 2-3 months, they have a higher risk of getting seizures. So as a blanket rule, as a neurologist, what we tell our patients is that avoid swimming for about 6 months from the time of last seizure. And also, if somebody has to go for swimming and in a well-controlled epilepsy, still there should be help. So someone who's one person always should be there with the epilepsy person, that in case of any eventuality something happens, the person should know swimming and immediate help is available.
Now, knowing that Zubeen was an expert swimmer, he was very good with the waters, still an epilepsy seizure can happen while you're in water, even if you're the best of swimmer?
Yes, epilepsy can happen.
And you can go out of control?
Yes, so epilepsy can occur anytime, whether a person is swimming or not swimming. So if it's an unfortunate situation where the epilepsy occurs while swimming, and as I said, in a generalized epilepsy, the person is not conscious. So in a person who is unconscious, even if the person is expert swimmer, the person is unconscious. So they cannot control anything, and then the risk of drowning is very high. So it's just unfortunate incident, because we don't know that a person may be having no seizures for the last 30 days, but on the 31st day a person can have seizures. So generally we always tell them, definitely, a person with epilepsy should not go to sea water for swimming. If the person is very fond of swimming, definitely it should be a controlled swimming pool, and then have floating devices, have an immediate help available if something happens. So this kind of, the person with epilepsy who is allowed to go for swimming in sea water definitely is not advisable.
Doctor, are you aware of an autopsy, or while doing the postmortem, if doctors are not able to detect whether the person was poisoned? Because poison, to claim that he was poisoned is alarming. And I'm shocked that Singapore authorities have said died due to drowning and they could not detect it. And Indian authorities have not detected it. But here you have a bandmate who claims that he was poisoned. Now,
yeah, see, there are two aspects here. One is that drowning definitely can be seen grossly. So when a person undergoes, when a person who has died, an autopsy is done, so there are definite telltale signs of drowning on the lungs and other viscera, which can be seen grossly, and it doesn't take much time for the person doing autopsy to find that drowning has been done.
Okay.
The second aspect is if he was poisoned, what was the poison? So something which made him more drowsy. And if somebody, like say some kind of sedatives, it can be benzodiazepines, or I'm not talking about this particular case, but in general. So a person who has been given sedatives in a high dose, so that person can lose, can become, within say few minutes of taking sedatives, can become too sleepy and may not be able to control his swimming. So that is possible, and that benzodiazepines or sedatives cannot be seen grossly unless somebody does analysis of the chemical analysis of the blood or viscera, and then finds the absolute level, because of course, and also it depends on other medications that he was taking for epilepsy. So some drugs do interact. There are some benzodiazepines that are used for treating epilepsy also. So I don't have those details. So once those details are given and this analysis is done, chemical analysis, that only can tell us whether what kind of poison, or whether it was there or not, and whether and what was the level of that poison that could make him drowsy or sedated or not.
And the viscera report after his funeral was now he's cremated. What do we expect from the viscera?
Yeah, I think if the viscera has been preserved, we don't know what that, then definitely analysis can be done on that, because in autopsy sometimes the viscera will be removed and it can be safe. It can be safely kept, at least some samples. We are not sure about that. But so based on that, analysis can, or they may have already done the analysis, because any suspicious death, there is a protocol, what are the things to check. So I'm sure they may have looked at that also, because it was, drowning can be the end result. As I said, if a person has got sedatives then that can impair his skills of swimming also, which can increase the chances of drowning. But even without that, a person with epilepsy, if he gets a seizure, generalized seizure, then there is a high risk of drowning.
Do tell me, you have the band member saying that Zubeen was frothing through his mouth and nose. Can that happen when you have a seizure?
Yes, it is very common. So frothing at mouth it can happen, and also the person is unconscious. So sometimes they can have the tongue bite. They can be blood also in the throat. Sometimes they can vomit. If somebody has had food in the last, say, half an hour to 1 hour, it can be still in the stomach. So those contents can regurgitate. So frothing, tongue bite, bleeding in the mouth, those things are well known in a person immediately after seizure or during a seizure.
So it could be multiple factors. It could be very well that he had taken medicines to treat, which is, he had epilepsy seizures, so he may have taken his medicines, regular medicines, and could have interacted with something else that he may have had. He may have eaten very close to swimming, and getting into water at that point may have been a wrong idea, and he may have gotten an attack. I'm saying if all of these could be factors that could have resulted in his death, but poison, when you speak of poison, you're saying it could be medicines as well that could have interacted. I don't know what other poison, I can't imagine of another kind of poison. What other poisons are there?
No, poisons can be various types. So the common things are sedatives.
So I'm saying those kind of poisons, which is completely
Correct.
Suspicious. Can that be detected in autopsy? That too 3 times of autopsy?
No, as I said, the chemical analysis needs to be done for that, and we have, the labs are very well equipped to detect all kinds of toxic substances. So, we just have to send the viscera for analysis, and any toxic compound can be detected. Yes.
Okay, right. Okay, so Mr. Rao, a quick word on the SIT investigation. Notices have been sent to nearly 8 NRIs, Assamese originally, but living in Singapore, who are very excited to host Zubeen Garg on that yacht, and they were part of that yacht party. They've all been summoned, but they're refusing to appear. They're scared to come to India for whatever reason. Some say that they're going to lose their job if they leave. Some say that the Singapore police are not allowing them to go. So Himanta Biswa Sarma says that you either come face SIT or you'll face action. Now what's the legal possibility here if an NRI is unwilling to come down to face investigation? Do you believe that the two countries together can work this out and ensure that they face investigation, or is Singapore being right now clear that they're citizens of this country, so you can't interfere? How does the Indian authority wade through this?
Nabila, this is a very crucial question, because that incident took place in Singapore, and the persons who are being sought by the Indian investigating officers, they belong to Singapore, and if they have some valid reason not to come, they cannot be forced to join investigation here. Secondly, it all depends upon the mutual treaty, which I have the MLA-T, that mutual legal assistance treaty. If it allows, then after talking to both the governments, that can be done, that they may come here, they may talk to their employers there, and then they can have some leave. That if at all, if they want to come, then definitely they should join the investigation. If they don't want to come, there is no legal hassle from India against them. I am very much clear that if they come, most welcome. They should join the investigation. They should assist the police in India to find out the truth. And if they don't want to come because of their pressure on their job, or maybe pressure by the Singapore police, then they cannot be forced to come here in India.
They can't be forced.
They can't be.
Okay, that's interesting.
So because mainly because the main offense has been committed there only. Then the Singapore police has a first right to investigate this case.
Right.
We are doing this investigation as a secondary investigation, which may be initiated here also, because the offense has not been committed here. This is my question, because jurisdiction of any offense, that is the most important aspect of this case.
The yacht party happened. The wife of Zubeen says, I was not even aware. I spoke to Zubeen few hours earlier, but he never told me that he was going to a yacht party. They knew very well that doctors had advised against him. Now, my only question is, Zubeen is not 15. He was nearly 52. How can you tell a grown man not to go into what? Like, how can you blame anybody on the yacht who may have enjoyed with Zubeen not to go into water or not to swim or, you know, not to do what he was doing? You can't tell a fully grown man not to do something.
Yes, Pramila,
but on what grounds have the police arrested all of them? Now they've been arrested because they were on the yacht.
That is the big question, how this police can arrest these people when the offence has been committed in Singapore. That is to be seen. The legality of this arrest will be, I think, that may be challenged in India, because nobody can force anybody to whether to go for swimming or not swimming.
Yeah.
That is a separate issue. But all these, if there are some questions raised in this suspicion death, they may be told to the Singapore police. That Singapore police will investigate each and everything. They will also see the CCTV
and there were
cameras.
2 people, unidentified people, who walked into his room, etc., etc.
That is also to be seen by the Singapore police.
Correct. You're right. Singapore police have now a larger role to play in this investigation, and Indian authorities have sought cooperation as well. So they've agreed to do so. But at this point, certainly the band members' claims and what he's put down on his note as part of his arrest testimony is shocking, and it's completely given a new twist to the Zubeen Garg death case. This is a man, Shekhar Jyoti Goswami, you see on our screens, who's Zubeen's bandmate, who claims that Zubeen's manager Siddharth poisoned him. So this has turned the entire case into a new dimension. Now murder charges and investigation being looked into, and this now leaves the entire country waiting to see what the reports find. Thank you very much, both of you. I really appreciate you give us some clarity on this case. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're slipping into a short commercial break. We'll be right back. Do stay with us.
भाई ऑन रोड या ऑफ रोड?
रोड ट्रिप पे किस बाइक की सवारी होगी, ये खूबसूरत चिंता आप करिए। 2-व्हीलर लोन की चिंता हम संभाल लेंगे विद स्पॉट अप्रूवल एंड लोन अप टू 95%।
You can take a left, you can take a right, and it's also a little time. If you really feel it, say it on price. It's the vibe, it's the vibe, it's the vibe now.
नई गाड़ी लेनी पड़ेगी।
हाँ, हमें भी।
शोरूम खोला जल्दी।
संभल कर, अंदर महंगा इंश्योरेंस बेचने की पूरी कोशिश हो सकती है, जबरदस्ती।
कौन करेगा जबरदस्ती? फोड़ दूंगा इधर मैं।
रिलैक्स कमलाकर, कोई जबरदस्ती नहीं है। नई गाड़ी के लिए हम एको कार इंश्योरेंस ही लेंगे।
फेयर प्राइस, कम प्रीमियम।
बात खत्म।
बात खत्म।
सर बात खत्म। अरे सर बात खत्म। अरे सर।
कार का एक्शन हीरो एको।
Welcome back. Let me take you through news coming in from Maharashtra. A 58-year-old American man and 2 Indians have been arrested in Maharashtra's Bhiwandi for allegedly conducting illegal religious conversions. The trio, James Watson from the United States, and locals Sainath Sarpe and Manoj Kolha, reportedly told villagers that embracing Christianity could cure illnesses and bring prosperity. Police say that they distributed books, recited prayers, performed healing sessions. Local resident complained after witnessing a gathering of about 35 people outside Kolha's house in Chimbipada. Officers then reached the spot, recovered some religious literature as well, and some writings on it that claimed Hinduism is based on superstition in a bid to convert them. They have been charged under laws for hurting religious sentiments, violating visa rules, and under Maharashtra's Anti-Black Magic Act. Authorities are checking if this was a one-off incident or part of a wider network. A US national now being involved, American consular officials are expected to be informed. All three currently remain in police custody as the probe now continues. That's James Watson there, who's a former US military person, and he's now been arrested. He's in Indian custody. He came on a visitor's visa and he was arrested on charges of conversion, illegally converting. Ratan Sharda, author and columnist, joining us live. We also have Kishore Tiwari, leader of the Shiv Sena UBT. Thanks very much. Kishore Tiwari ji, your take, and let me start with you first. In your state, Maharashtra, we're looking at one American citizen who came down on a visitor's visa. He was meeting people in that very village there, in one person's house, where he was preaching Christianity. And he's been arrested by the police after a local there complained to the police that this man was trying to illegally convert. Now, I don't know if this is illegal conversion. He was holding that session there in that house. You tell us, has this been taken up by your party? What really happened there? Is this illegal conversion? Are you in the know?
No, we have been receiving the complaint that tribal belt of Vasai, Virar, Bhiwandi and Thane, where tribal conversion is going on. This is a shocking case where 30-40 people were gathered. They were giving the books of the Christianity. They were told that your alignment will go away if you pray like this. And the man, James Watson, has come on a business visa, and there is a conversion racket has been exposed of. But Maharashtra has a BJP government who speaks about Hinduism and all these things. If conversion is happening when Devendra Fadnavis is the chief minister, then it's a very serious thing. And how many churches are being operated? This is beyond the politics also. How many churches being operated? How many people who are foreign nationals have been working in these tribal areas? And how FCRA fund is being allowed? Then what is the truth that should come out? And I demand Devendra Fadnavis should take a responsibility, at least to come out with the truth, whether it was an official conversion being because they have been arrested.
That's precisely my question here. On what grounds has he been arrested? We know the sections that have been imposed, Anti-Conversion Act, Black Magic and whatnot. But, he could very well claim that he's come on a visitor's visa. He had an event he wanted to be part of, and he wanted to meet a bunch of people, and he was there preaching Christianity. Is preaching wrong? Is it illegal? Mr. Ratan Sharda, if I could involve you in, I know your stance here, but I want you to explain, under the ambit of the Indian law, is it illegal to be talking about Christianity? Clearly it is preaching. I 100% agree that he had his scriptures, he came with an intention, but how do you think his lawyer can aptly fight a case in favor of him?
Jamila, if you know my reaction,
Nabila, sir.
Please tell me what I will speak.
Sir, my name is Nabila, you're calling me Jamila.
Oh, sorry, I'm so sorry, Nabila. I wanted to say Nabila age, okay.
No worries.
Okay.
I know your stance
sorry.
on this, but I'm just saying...
My stance is, I can have a very nuanced stance, not necessarily have a stance that you want me to imply.
Okay, surprise us.
Another debate, another congressman said, I know what Ratan Sharda would have said, which I did not say. I had already said I wanted to say. Anyway, see, point is that we have a right to preach. We don't have a right to convert. If you read the constitution carefully, you have a right to preach. You don't have a right to convert. Point one. Point two, when you come on a tourist visa, you cannot take up these activities because these activities have to be mentioned when you take the visa. When visas take up as a visitor visa, He cannot preach. He cannot preach religion or anything else. That is illegal. There is an organization called Legal Rights Observatory, LRO, which has been regularly filing cases against such frauds to the Home Ministry, where FCR have been cancelled, where people have been sent back or arrested. So we have to be vigilant. If somebody tries to convert with allurement of fraud, that is definitely criminal, and that must be answered. Aren't there enough Christians in India who are actually preaching? Are they arrested? They are not. But to turn into Changai Sabhas and telling people you get cured, you must have seen videos where you're touched and you feel you have been shocked and you start dancing and start doing weird things. So that is not how you convert. It is happening in Punjab, and it is happening in Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, and also in Maharashtra now. And Kishore Tiwari ji knows that he said himself that it's happening for a long time. So why bring politics into it? Did his government take enough action? So these people feel that we can play around with the law, we can cry persecution, we can cry victim card and get away with it. That is my problem. Somebody coming and preaches not that he should come with a visa which says coming as a missionary. A missionary will come to India with visa.
But is it easy? So there is a separate visa for missionaries?
Yes. Please find out how do foreigners come to India. Jesuits, how do they come? I was in Xavier's college. There were foreign Jesuit priests who were there in the college. How did they come? They came with a visa for maybe education, maybe research, but not for on tourist visa, naturally. And they work within the precinct, they don't go out and propagate. So there is a problem of trying to misuse law. FCR laws misuse, as I said, there are organizations now tracking them and exposing them. So we must not try to allow these foreigners can't control their own churches. In USA, churches are being sold. In entire Europe, they are being sold, they are being put on rent, and followers don't go to church. Nearly half of the Christians say you don't believe in Jesus or something like that. So they have lost faith in Christianity, which is a sad thing. Actually, these people should go and preach their own people and bring them to faith, because it is very important for them.
So preaching to the marginalized, he's in fact very deliberately going to villages and holding these sessions, in private homes. What does it really speak of? And here you have people willingly participating. So can you really outrightly, apart from him coming on a visitor's visa, can you call this forceful conversion?
This is called conversion by allurement. That is also illegal. And I was in a debate maybe in your channel or somewhere else where they said that, they were offered jobs, they were offered that they will go out, they will study well. And they do study well. It's a weakness for our society that we cannot give them the kind of economic advantage that us give. That is why they are called rice converts by even the old Christians. So to allure people into better jobs, better studies and convert them is not the right thing. Do you see that happening in the cities? It doesn't happen. It happens in remote area only where people can't respond, people don't know, and they are in such a dire state. They said, okay, mere bacche ka bhavishya banega. But that is not ethically, morally correct.
Kishore Tiwari?
I am knowing the truth. Sainath Sapre and Manoj Kolle both are recently converted Christians from a tribal community, and they are being paid monthly. And CASA is being assisted. And this man was a military man in US, now is a full-time religious worker, and his goal to come here was spreading the religion. And whether it was illegal or legal, it will take his own time. But if the conversion of innocent people by giving them money or promising them that the magic will happen if they pray Jesus Christ and all these things has happened in India. All conversion took place like that. But year 2025 near Mumbai and in the Thane, if it is happening, then it is a matter of concern. Ratan Sharda, I know you cannot criticize this government, but how many foreign nationals who are doing spreading the Christianity, trying for a conversion? Government should come out. They should come out. How the churches are being running here with the foreign fund. This is a very serious issue. My concern is innocent victimization of tribals only for giving the money should not be there. Their rights are there. They don't belong to any religion, then all right. But if they are being told like this, that this religion can cure your all impossible alignment, and if the foreigners are doing like this, then there should be a watch, there should be a guideline to the police. And
I don't know if you can blame a political party, Mr. Tiwari, because your party was in power very recently. If there was effort, it could have very well be taken by the UBT Sena as well. How did Uddhav Thackeray not identify these vulnerable spots or these vulnerable communities and ensure they were uplifted?
I will add, Nabila, I will add one thing. Nabila, I will add one thing.
Yeah.
If my government was failure one, then BJP government would we allow them to become a failure like this? My government was a useless one. My government was a useless one. You do agree to that. But I am talking about Devendra Fadnavis, who is the Hindu man of India, who is the next Prime Minister in queue, should understand the reality that on the nose of his Mantralaya, this is happening. And Ratan Sharda, you should take up this issue with the BJP walas, with the government authorities, that it should not happen.
Mr. Sarda, you should take up the issue since you are a vociferous
Yeah, because only I am
voice.
the responsible Indian. Kishore ji can write letters and send it to me, print my newspaper, and then start, criticizing people. See, Nabila, on a very serious note, in Talasari, in the area where all this is happening, in Vish Hindu Parishad opened its ashram there, hostel there, way back in 1970s. आपको पता होगा किशोर जी, याद है आपको? तलासरी में विश्व हिंदू परिषद का पहला खुला था हॉस्टल. जस्ट अ मोमेंट.
रतन जी मैं वहां पर गया हूँ. रतन जी मैं वहां गया हूँ. रतन जी मैं वहां गया हूँ.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल आपका स्वागत है. इसके लिए ये बीमारी पुरानी है.
एक्टिविटी है.
एक मिनट.
ये रिसेंट एक्टिविटी है.
See, what I am trying to say, it is happening there for long years. Vish Hindu Parishad was there for long years. They were beaten. People nearly lost their lives. I have met a person whose head was broken into two pieces, somehow saved by surgery, and missionaries were at that time very aggressive. So it is not here only. In Northeast, the entire separatist movement has been backed by the missionaries. They were all outsiders. So they have their roots very deep inside these tribal pockets, or something very, lightly to be taken. There are, some missionary came here. Remember, two sadhus were killed in the
same area.
This is a challenge.
Yes,
it is a challenge. It's a challenge. And we do question that BJP. You remember when Sadhu murder took place, you people put the tail inside the legs. At that time when BJP came, we shouted, told them take action. So CBI was brought in. I am nobody's friend as far as my own community is concerned. As far as these kind of anti-national activities are happening, I will speak up. But point is, it's a very strong network within their own churches. And as I said, from 1836, this is happening. It was something new. Entire Northeast was nearly lost because of missionary activities who promoted terrorism, separatism. And here in this Kasa village where it happened, weren't sadhus murdered. So that hate atmosphere is what hurts. And then they use various platforms. They will create superstition. They will divide the society by claiming their gods are false. There are some other gods. So this kind of conversion is not simply permissible. If you really can turn people around with love, do it. But you don't throw money for that. You don't try to create this kind of superstition for them. That is what is not right for me.
And more importantly, on legal grounds, the fact that he was here on a visitor's visa and was seen preaching inside a house is illegal.
Yes.
Okay. Final word, Mr. Tiwari. What are you going to do in your state now?
No. I do agree with Ratan Sharda ji, because how the Kasa activities are being, because this is not a British role. This is a Hindu party being ruling in India, and Hindu are being converted into Christianity openly. It was a church meeting. It was a Sunday prayer. After the Sunday prayer, they were given some gifts, and they were asked that this Bible prayer and praying the Bible, praying the God will cure your all the diseases. And I am thankful for the Hindu activists who brought the police and they are being arrested. Now investigation should take place to the logical conclusion whether it is a permissible, are you under British Raj, or we are being governed by a Hindu party who is educating for a Hindu Raj.
So we got your point. Under the BJP, how can something like this happen? We heard you, and well, they have been arrested.
I only hope investigation is fast.
Right. Thank you very much. I think this was a much needed issue to be discussed because this seems to be rampant across different parts of India, and according to our panelists here, it's not illegal to preach, but the method and the way with which this foreign national here has come down to India in the guise under the guise of a tourist and then preaching, offering money and gifts is thoroughly illegal. Thanks very much, both of you, for joining us here today.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, let me start with all our top stories on day tonight. Let's first begin with a shocker that came in on a lawyer trying to attack the Supreme Court Chief Justice. A lawyer tried to hurl a shoe at Chief Justice of India BR Gavai inside the Supreme Court, an alarming breach of courtroom decorum that shocked everyone present. The attacker, who's identified as Advocate Rakesh Kishore, shouted after trying to attack CJI, saying, "India will not tolerate the insult of Sanatana Dharma," as security personnel swiftly overpowered and escorted him out. No injuries were reported and he didn't finally manage to hurl the shoe. He attempted to do before he was stopped. Kishore was detained, questioned for over 3 hours, but released after the Supreme Court registry decided not to press charges on him. Now, his shoe and documents were returned after thorough inquiry. The incident occurred during a bench hearing on lawyers' mentioning of cases. Now, the Bar Council of India has acted immediately, suspending the accused, Kishore's license, and barring him from practicing anywhere across the country. He's been issued a show cause notice and has 15 days time to respond. Despite the disruption, proceedings did continue seamlessly. CJI Gavai remained calm and composed, we hear, urging lawyers to continue their arguments, preserving the court's dignity at that point. Now, this act comes barely 20 days after controversy broke out over CJI Gavai's remarks in a plea seeking reconstruction of a 7-foot Lord Vishnu idol at the Khajuraho's Javari temple. At that point, CJI had in fact dismissed that plea as publicity interest litigation, saying that the petitioner could meditate or pray elsewhere. He later clarified that this issue itself lay under the Archaeological Survey of India and it need not have to come to the Supreme Court. Amid the social media outrage, we hear that CJI Gavai also later came out to clarify, saying that my comments on that PIL have been portrayed in a certain manner. I respect all religions. But well, here you have a lawyer today, enraged by what he had said over 2 weeks ago, has come out to almost attack the Chief Justice of India. But Mr. Gavai, who remained unfazed, said while he was about to be attacked, "I'm not disturbed by this. Please continue with the arguments," retaining the dignity of the courtroom. All right, now Madhya Pradesh, Chhindwara, the cough syrup tragedy has really shaken India. 16 children have died owing to contaminated cough syrup, largely in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. There's now been a nationwide crackdown on the cough syrup Coldrif. It's contaminated and that's been confirmed. And we hear that it was administered to many children across these 2 states by doctors who had no idea that the cough syrup was contaminated. In fact, Dr. Praveen Soni, a senior pediatrician in Madhya Pradesh, has been arrested in the case. Speaking to the media, though, he denied any wrongdoing. He said that he's been prescribing this cough syrup for nearly 10 years. And from that very particular pharmaceutical company, many medicines have come and he's been prescribing them for nearly 10 years. He says medicines come sealed and approved through government channels doctors cannot determine their formulation and we cannot be held responsible. This is what the doctor has said in response after he was arrested. An FIR though has now been filed against Dr. Soni and the directors of Tamil Nadu based Shrisan Pharmaceuticals under charges of unintentional homicide and drug adulteration. Now, a probe team is currently headed to Tamil Nadu. That's where most of the Coldrif was manufactured, we hear. And the toxic batch particularly came in from Tamil Nadu this time. Even as the company faces a production ban, there's investigation that's now speeding up to find out what really happened. The Indian Medical Association, meanwhile, IMA has strongly condemned the doctor's arrest. They call this as illegal arrest, saying that this is legal illiteracy, demanding action against the real culprits. The IMA says the pharma company and the government regulatory system are the real culprits, not the doctors. The IMA says doctors can't really test for adulteration and only prescribe a government-approved medicine. Investigators believe toxic industrial grade chemicals like DEG or EG may have been used of pharmaceutical grade solvents. Instead of pharmaceutical grade solvents, they may have used industry solvents, which basically DEG and EG, industrial grade solvents, basically is used for brake fluid, paint, thinners. That's what it's used for. So they suspect that industrial level grade solvent is used for medicines, and this is a contamination that's led to the death of nearly 16 children. IMA has also cited the 2003 Mashelkar report that warned India's drug control system had lacked testing labs and trained inspectors. Failures now exposed yet again. A high-level review that's been led by Union Minister JP Nadda is currently enforcing strict regulation on cough syrup norms. Remember, Karnataka has now issued a directive asking doctors not, basically a statewide directive saying no cough syrup should be given to children below the age of 2, and above the age of 2 to 5, you should consult with a doctor before administering cough syrup to your child. Madhya Pradesh, 2 drug inspectors owing to this case have been suspended, and a deputy director as well has been suspended. The state drug regulator, the controller, has been suspended for negligence. Grieving families now, of course, demanding accountability. A little too late action that's come in, but at least now we know that this Coldrif cough syrup has been fully withdrawn, no more in sale across India. All right, now sad story coming in. Darjeeling, the queen of the hills, is currently battling its worst rain disaster in years. Torrential rains have unleashed deadly landslides in Darjeeling, washing away bridges, roads and homes, tea estates fully buried, highways severed, hundreds of tourists stranded. At least 25 people, including children, have died. The NH10 and NH55 remain blocked, isolating entire mountain hamlets. Rescue and relief teams are racing against time to pull survivors from debris. Union Home Minister Amit Shah has assured full central support after speaking to MP Raju Bista. More NDRF teams are currently being deployed. They are being airlifted to the region as 24-hour rain and flood alert stays in place. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has convened an emergency meeting, set up a 24/7 control room and is personally monitoring rescue efforts. She's urged tourists to stay where they are until help arrives. Police have asked stranded visitors to reach out for assistance. Tiger Hill, Batasia Loop and the iconic toy train route all shut. The misty hills of Darjeeling stand scarred today. Right, tensions gripped Odisha's Cuttack after a clash broke out during idol immersion on Sunday night. What began as dispute over loud music turned into large-scale violence, forcing the administration to clamp a 36-hour curfew across several areas, including Dargah Bazaar. Police have said bottles were hurled from rooftops, vehicles torched, and officers attacked while trying to control the mob. Several personnel were injured. One officer was seen being wheeled away on a stretcher. Internet services remain suspended until 7 p.m. In fact, the next 24 hours is crucial there. 24 Moza to curb rumors. That's what the police have done to ensure order there. Tensions have flared again when a VHP bike rally defied curfew orders, passed through the clash zone. CCTV cameras now were damaged during that ruckus. Shops near Gaurishankar Park vandalized before police disrupted and dispersed the mob. So far, 6 people have been arrested, with more likely after review of drone and CCTV footage. One person is currently critical at the SCB Medical College Hospital, and the state police are currently conducting flag marches under Section 144. Imagine how tense the situation is there. Opposition leader Naveen Patnaik called this violence as deeply concerning, accusing the new government of security lapses, basically pointing fingers at the BJP. The VHP has announced a 12-hour bandh, blaming police inaction. Immersion activities have since resumed under tight security. 120 idols were immersed without any ruckus post that. All right, in Karnataka, Shimoga district, villagers have now refused to take part in ongoing social and educational survey, better known as a caste survey, until a mobile tower is installed in the area. The protest has stalled survey work in 4 villages of Sagar Taluk. Locals say they've been demanding a mobile connectivity for over 3 years, but have only received false promises. They even boycotted elections earlier over the same issue. The statewide caste survey began on September 22nd and is set to end on October 7th, but due to the deadline has now been extended until October 12th across Karnataka, until October 24th for Greater Bengaluru. Teachers will continue school until 1 p.m. and then switch to survey duties. Villagers also accused officials of skipping door-to-door visits and forcing them to come to office. Tehsildar has now promised to coordinate with BSNL within 3 days' time, after which protest was temporarily called off. For these villagers, the issue isn't caste certification, it's a mobile connectivity to begin with, and a working mobile signal. That's what they want before a caste census.
ಆಗದೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ನನ್ಗೆ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗೋದು? ನೀನು ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯ ಬಂದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನಿನಗೆ ಉದ್ಯೋಗ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ಯಾ, ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ಯಾ, ನಿನಗೆ ಜಮೀನುಗಳಿದ್ಯಾ, ಇದು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು.
All right, finally, tragedy and rescue operations are underway on Mount Everest Tibetan slopes. 41-year-old trekker has died from hypothermia and altitude sickness in Mount Everest, while over 130 stranded hikers have been so far rescued. Hikers were caught in a sudden blizzard in the Lahuhogao area of the Kilian Mountains in Qinghai province, nearly 4,000 meters above sea level during China's National Day and mid-autumn holidays. Fierce winds and heavy snowfall made rescue operations extremely challenging. More than 300 rescues have been made, including 10 teams with drones, horses and yaks, are still combing the mountains there for missing trekkers. So far, 350 people have been rescued. 300 are said to be still missing. Over 200 are unaccounted for. Social media reports suggest hundreds more may be trapped in the Karma Valley. Many trekkers took shelter in makeshift tents, surviving on limited supplies as rescue teams battle snow altitude and freezing temperatures. In fact, massive search operation now continues across the icy slopes, Mount Everest, to bring every stranded climber to safety in one of the world's toughest mountain terrains. All right, thanks very much for tuning in. Have a great night.
पेंटिंग में पहली बार बिरला ओपस अश्योरेंस। 1 साल में पेंट को कुछ भी हुआ तो पेंटिंग वापस करके देंगे। रजिस्टर करो birlaopus.com पर।
खेलता है, झूलता उछलता है, दौड़ता कभी कभी दौड़ कराता है, आगे आगे बढ़ता है इंडिया, अमूल दूध पीता है
पापा भूख लगी है, मुझे भी वॉशरूम जाना है।
पेट्रोल भी भराना पड़ेगा।
सब मिलेगा।